Chartguys.com. Become a confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. Let's check out some charts. Hey traders, checking in on the marijuana stock sector. The fuse has been lit, and it just took the vice president debate and Kamala Harris with a very brief mention of marijuana, and now the media is rushing to cover it all. So we have short squeezes underway on both the Canadian and the US side, and we're going to look at it all and talk about the bigger picture in just a moment. Stay tuned. All right, so lots of green out there in the sector today, and again, in my opinion, it's based off of the mention in the vice presidential debate, and now we are seeing the hype machine start turning its wheels. And those of us who have been playing this space for a long time know the game, know how important the media is, and we're seeing it now take place. CNBC has started some coverage. I'm getting the same article on Fidelity highlighting that debate and the decriminalization statement and things like that. It's now pushed that article out 3 times in the last 3 hours. And again, that tells me bigger names likely have their positions, and we're now seeing the headlines roll out to sucker in the retail sector to chase late. And that's going to add fuel to the fire of the short squeeze, but we need to ensure that we are not left holding the bags like this sector has done before. I am going to distinguish between Canadian MJ names and US MJ names because in my opinion, there is some importance between those names. So I was not confident that Canadian MJ would run into the election. I was very confident that US MJ would run into the election, but I must admit, last week, I started having some doubts. And fortunately, I stuck to my trade game plan, but I started thinking to myself, I've been trading the MJ sector for 10 years. Every single election is free money. Are we really going to see the first time in 10 years that we're not going to run the sector into the election? And I was a bit worried, but that is no longer the case, and a big sigh of relief. Getting the follow through on the daily trend changes. We highlighted last video a couple days ago. This has to happen, and we've seen best case scenario, and bulls could not have hoped for anything better. So we've been looking for this setup for 2.5 months. A lot of people that are watching this video right now are going to be feeling FOMO and not in positions, and they want positions. At a bare minimum, you need to be waiting for an hourly high or low, in my opinion, because again, chasing this sector has not gone well. Why is this time potentially different? In my opinion, volume. We're seeing Canadian MJ names right now with the highest volume in 4+ months. That's a long time. And again, obviously the election, a once in 4-year event. So the question is, how much hype and momentum can be squeezed out of this? How much pressure can be put on shorts? If you want some more information, I put out a video 2.5 months ago. It's on our YouTube channel. Just Google US marijuana stocks chart, guys. But pretty much laid out the scene of what to be looking for into this election. And it's interesting to go back and watch that from 2.5 months ago and compare to where we stand now that we are just 3.5 weeks from this election. So let's start it off with the Canadian MJ side of things. CGC, again, huge volume. Aside from one day, okay, there was one day where we had more volume in the last 4 months. It was the big bull day on July 28th, second biggest day in the last 4 months. Short squeeze is on, there's no doubt about that. And you can say that anybody that has entered CGC bearish in the last August, September, in the last 2 months is now underwater. And we have the bulls up after hours. We are seeing the strong close and the potential gap up open setups that we had become so familiar with in a bull market. And to see that happening again, it's a shift. There is a shift on right now. And we have CNBC about to cover the marijuana sector here in their fast money segment between 5 and 6 p.m. Eastern. So watching for the potential push up that gives us in extended hours. And what we're going to be watching for if we get a gap up open tomorrow will be hourly consolidation. Again, we're very overextended. The reason we didn't consolidate is the ramp up in bull volume just constantly keeping pressure on shorts, where every single pullback's a 5-minute high or low, and there's just no exit for those shorts. They're continually put underwater. And we are looking at 1966 as the most important resistance level from here in the short term. Another level of 1881 comes first. That's a closer level. And now we're going to be watching potential back burner trades. Again, we have a video on YouTube about back burner trades. Google that. But first 5-minute oversold conditions when looking for an hourly high or low after a massive bull run. First hourly oversold conditions when looking for a daily high or low after a massive bull run. Again, I need to highlight again, do not chase this sector. Do not enter trades without game plans. You want to put yourself in a position where no matter what, you are not going to be left holding a bag. And I can give you the names of 10,000 people who have been watching my videos over the last 3 years who were bag holders, maybe not that many, maybe 5,000, who became bag holders because they didn't have a game plan and because the rug was pulled out beneath them over many, many months. So the best case scenario for the Canadian MJ space into this hype is a monthly trend change. And for CGC, what we need to see is 1966 and 2219 break. The election is 3.5 weeks away. The broader market is a factor. The broader market, SPY, has held up really well the last 2 days. It's been a nice environment for this sector to run in. We're not running because the broader market is strong, but the broader market being strong is helping the sector run. If we pull back 1% tomorrow in the broader market, we're going to pull back in the MJ sector, in my opinion. So again, we have to be watching the broader market as well, and ideally keeping ideal conditions. So CGC, tons of space for the hourly high or low. APHA kicked this all off with the rumor. Then we traded sideways, and now we got a second leg up. Again, the highest volume in about 2 months here. Into the gap fill. 586 filled the gap. We got within 2 pennies of that gap fill. Started some consolidation into the end of the day. Hourly consolidation into the close. We're seeing the extended hours bull move with the CNBC coverage coming up. And we'll be watching 584, the gap fill at 586. And then 615 is the level. If we break 615 on APHA, we have a monthly trend change in the sector for the first time since all-time highs. Again, that's different. Everybody's saying, this time's different, and most of the time it's not, but there are enough things stacking up that I'm definitely paying attention to what the sector is doing into the election. Kron, highlighted over the weekend for Chart Guys members in the video, this 4-hour falling wedge, and again, pretty much best case scenario, could not have asked for a better bull break on how this 4-hour falling wedge played out. Certainly did not anticipate that this would be the reaction, but bulls are not complaining. Bull break, back test held it, and then just ripping. So what the bulls need here for a monthly trend change, as the bulls are attempting to set a monthly high or low, is a break of 813. That's still a long ways away. We need another 40% move on Kron to get to monthly resistance. So again, there's a lot of longer term proving to do, but we are noticing notable volume, notable shifts in momentum, and Kron is in an area now where there's a lack of resistance. After 593, we're looking up at 6 and 666. Again, we will look for an hourly high or low next time we consolidate, and gap ups are for selling. That is one lesson that we have learned and traded time and time again. It used to be another free money setup in the hype of Canadian MJ in the days of old. If you close strong at the high of the day, you get a gap up open 4 times out of 5. And I traded APHA for the gap up open a couple days ago with a very small position. It was almost like I just wanted to get that muscle memory back. And we got a little follow through. And it was noteworthy to me that APHA saw that gap up open. And I'm referring to back 2 days ago. And I sold that gap up open, small profit. I did the same thing with CGC at the end of today, where I've got my swing positions that were very profitable, which made me a bit more aggressive. I recognized, I said, okay, I know this trade setup. I've seen it dozens of times. It's been years since I've seen it, but there's enough strength here, and it's this late in the day at 3:15 p.m. I don't think we're going to see hourly consolidation. I know this playbook. We're going to close at the high of the day, and we're going to look for a gap up open. So I saw this consolidation. I wanted to enter here, but I didn't have the guts. Patiently waited and said, all right, I'll now use 17.19 as my stop. So I entered at 17.40, stop under 17.19, risking a small amount of profits on the day, and sold half into the close. And now I've got a break even of 17.15, swinging a smaller position of CGC as well. TLRY, short squeeze. So again, the weaker the names, the more explosive these moves are because there's more short covering fueling this move higher. So TLRY at one point today was up 20% because it's been one of the weakest charts in the last month plus. Again, dollar volume, highest dollar volume since back in May. That is almost 5 months. It's 4.5 months of the highest dollar volume that we've seen. And I take that back. I can't say dollar volume because I can't do the math off the top of my head, but highest volume. Dollar volume may have been higher on a day like August 4th because the price was so much higher. But anyways, next resistance is 692. Just looking for an hourly high or low. Next time we consolidate. Hourly uptrend is our short-term guide for momentum this week. Canada does not trade Monday. Keep that in mind. ACB. There's a short squeeze underway here as well. Next resistance level, 537, and then a lack of resistance. If these bulls can power through 537, again, anybody that went short over the last couple weeks is underwater, and the bulls have some nice momentum. So all about 537 tomorrow. I have traded ACB twice now on quick bull pops, and I've locked in my profit quickly. I did it again yesterday, and that's because it is the weakest name, and I would rather be in stronger names personally, but I do enjoy that fast short squeeze push when we do see that shift in momentum. VFF hasn't even changed the daily trend. We are coming off the low of consolidation. So again, don't want to FOMO too hard into this move. And ideally, if you're scrambling now to do some research or to establish a game plan, you're late to the game. Let's just call it as it is. This move, you're responding to the headlines that are trying to sucker in late retail, so to speak. So ideally, you're already in this move, whether it's US or Canada, you're paying attention, you are noting the shift over the last couple of days, and you're very comfortable in your bullish positions. So if looking for bullish positions from this point, definitely need to be a bit more cautious and definitely want to enter on consolidation to eliminate some of that risk as far as not wanting to buy the top of a bull move. Again, my confidence is in USMJ because of the US election, but Canadian names are obviously responding as well. The one downside to the USMJ is the OTC. You could call it a downside or an upside. Again, we got no new information from the debate yesterday. Anybody that's paying attention to the sector knew all that information and was scratching their head saying, why is the market not responding to this major event that is coming up in the next 3.5 weeks? And now we're seeing it happen. So let's go on to IIPR. So it was notable to me that the higher exchange traded USMJ names yesterday, IIPR and GWRG, stood out percentage gains much more significant than the OTC names. And I thought to myself, man, are we really going to see all this money just flow to these higher exchanges and skip out on these OTC names because they're on the OTC? And that was a possibility that I was factoring into my head. Today, we saw a little bit different. IIPR pretty much closed break even. That's a lot of selling volume on IIPR today. But anything above 123.32 is just a daily high or low. And we did break resistance today, just no follow through. And GRWG, very similar. Big bull day yesterday, no follow through today, consolidation day. So our two higher exchanges saw consolidation today, while our OTC names exploded with 8 to 12% gains. So a sigh of relief for me playing those OTC names in my swing positions to see money flow into those names and take a break from the higher exchange names. One other factor to mention, I'm watching the solar sector explode. And to me, this is an election run-up, and it's being priced in early. And I would love to see profit taking for a few days. And in my opinion, election sector traders would be smart to ideally have already done it, but take profit in solar, put it into the MJ space. One election hype run-up, I mean, we maxed that out. We went, 35% in 2 weeks, which is huge for a big sector. We're talking big money with this sector. We're looking at, today's volume traded was $300 million, whereas for a US MSO, $10 million is a big day. Huge difference, not even in the same league. But I would love to see some of this election sector run profit come on over into the MJ space. And again, back in 2017, I took my crypto sector massive run profit, brought it on over to the Canadian space right in time for a massive Canadian MJ move. That's how you compound gains, and that's what I would love to see as far as profit taking from one election sector trickling into another. Just a thought. We're not going to be able to see where that money is going, but that thought crossed my mind today. GRWG, so it's a daily inside bar, and if it breaks bearish, we look for a daily higher low compared to 1452. Bulls would love to break 1835, which was a double top today, and try and keep this move going. No major red flags, but clearly seeing the move from money into our higher exchange USMJ names yesterday, going to the OTC names today. MSOS, the ETF that is fairly new, highest dollar volume day since the IPO day, And we're looking up at all-time highs. That all-time high is 4.5%, 5% away. So, attention, hype. This is traded on the NYSE. If CNBC keeps talking about these names, if headline articles keep coming out, if probabilities continue to favor a Democrat Senate or a Biden win, or Arizona and Montana and our states legalizing recreational, we just got a headline that recreational marijuana sales will finally start in Maine. It's just a slew of headlines to stir up the hype that, again, experience in the sector knew was likely to happen. Sigh of relief to finally see it happen. TCNNF, daily trend change. Again, best case scenario, daily trend change, increasing bull volume and follow through. We have it in a big way. Zooming out to the weekly time frame, the question is, can we see continuation to a new all-time high, or do we see a tightening weekly range? And because of the dilution news before this run, it was a bit of a step back, and we still have to go 24% for the all-time high. That being said, we are also now above 22% above our recent low. We're right back in the middle of the range. Before today, I would have not been surprised to see a weekly tightening range as opposed to a breakout. But now I'm seeing what, $10 million plus can do to these names. And now that I'm seeing the media machine start to get involved, we can break these resistance levels in the next few weeks. It's going to be a stretch and it's going to be hard for the bulls, but it's possible. And that's obviously again, ideal scenario. So for TCNNF, anything above the low of today is an hourly higher low. Next resistance level, now that we cleared 2092, we're looking up at 2150, 2223. Again, there's a lot of space between every level on the chart from here. We're talking 4% from one resistance level to the other. GTBIF is the other swing position that I'm in. Again, just those two names at this point. Look at the volume. Nice month high volume. Daily trend change with beautiful follow through. 1550, 1629, 1668. That's the level. You clear 1668. Look at the lack of resistance. Just looking up to all-time high. Well, a couple levels. 1984. That's a big gap between resistance levels. So 1668 is the goal for the bulls to take out. And again, weekly time frame, things change quickly. Feels like we were just at the low of consolidation and saying, where are these sector bulls? What is taking them so long? And now we've got 8% for weekly continuation, which is also a monthly bull flag being confirmed. All-time highs are in the picture. But step one, breaking 1629 is not enough. Bulls need to break 1668. So the other names that I am not involved in but are certainly correlated, CURLF, there's your follow through. Daily trend change, big bull volume. We're looking up to 882, 10% to get to the next clear resistance level. Weekly time frame to see a higher high on the weekly chart. We've got 20% to go, and we are currently 26% above our support. Can we see enough dollar volume to run this sector and see a weekly breakout? Remains to be seen. CRLBF, look at that wall at 611, shaking up the soda can and just popping the top over the last 2 days with the ramp up in volume. We're looking at 728 and 775. And again, the weekly continuation is possible if this dollar volume keeps up. One note on the dollar volume for MSOS, that's only about $4 million traded, very roughly speaking. Again, if big money gets interested in this NYSE ETF, and if we can start seeing $4 million traded on an average daily basis, that, in my opinion, is going to do a lot for the sector. Not only will the ETF be buying up positions to help the individual names go up, but again, it's just headlines and attention from bigger names that might otherwise not be interested in the OTC names. So really nice timing for them to put out this ETF, and all-time highs are in the picture. So always have a game plan established. Always have a clear stop loss and a target. What's your goal? I am treating this as a trade. I'm not long-term any of these names. I have no idea what the fundamental shakeup is going to be if we go full legalization and vertically integrated companies that were forced to do so by regulations. Now that's busted wide open. I am not confident to determine who the winners are going to be. I have some ideas, but I am not in love with this sector aside from the fact that it's a money tree over the last decade. I am not in love with any of these individual names. I will sell my positions into bull momentum. I will not try and nail tops. And we'll see where the ride takes us. Have a good rest of your day. Do good things. And it's going to be exciting until the election and potentially on those election results. See you soon.